Hello and welcome to International, a new series on the National newspaper online where we look at a whole range of events happening all over the world and seeing their geopolitical significance and how they relate back to Scotland and the UK. This week we're going to be looking at the sheer madness occurring in Lebanon, the Lebanon's crisis, the crisis of political leadership, and the role that the Saudi royal family has in Lebanon, but also links to the UK and its trade and economic decisions.
So the resignation of ex-Prime Minister Saad Hariri has sparked off not only political crisis within Lebanon, but also shown up the strategic ineptitude of the Saudi kingdom. On November 9th, the Saudi Foreign Ministry advised Saudi nationals not to travel to Lebanon, and for those already there to leave as soon as possible. Some Lebanese officials have accused the Saudis of kidnapping Prime Minister Saad Hariri, who resigned in a statement broadcast from Riyadh on November the 4th. A Saudi anti-corruption drive continues, with officials claiming that more than $110 billion has been misused through systematic corruption and embezzlement over several decades. However, others state that this anti-corruption drive is in fact a play to consolidate power within the hands of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The instability that has hit the kingdom is without precedent in Saudi history.
But this is also to do with the economic leverage and connections between the Saudi regime and the ex-Lebanese Prime Minister Saad Hariri. Now, the connection between the Hariri family and Saudi Arabia goes back at least to 1978. In fact, Saad Hariri, who is a billionaire, and who was valued at least 4.6 billion at one time. They believe that his fortune has been reduced to about 1.5 billion now. In fact, is a major shareholder in a company started by his father, another Lebanese prime minister, in 1978, Saud Oger. Now, Saud Oger owes Saudi banks around about 3.5 billion pounds. Now, Rafik, Saad's father, was assassinated in 2005. Saad took over the family business, became the patriarch of not only his family's assets, but also the political movement that his father led. But we have to really ask questions, and this is something which has certainly perturbed me, thinking about the link between obvious economic connections and leverage exerted by the Saudi regime and Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince, making his power play, and also the fact that Hariri decided to go to Saudi Arabia to give his resignation speech in Riyadh. Not enough focus by the media has been brought to bear on these economic connections, on the fact that Saud Oger owes so much money to Saudi banks that it was caught up in corruption scandals previous to the moves being made by the Saudi Crown Prince. But it also points to the fact that states, whether inside the region or outside the region, need to be exceedingly careful when dealing with the Saudi regime or with this new, rather reckless Crown Prince. The lesson is that regardless of how we may feel about Iranian actions throughout the region, they end up being more reliable partners and patrons. Certainly when you think about the relationship between Hezbollah, the Shia military and political group, which has seats in the Lebanese parliament and also participates in the Lebanese government, but also how the Saudis treat their allies, which is betrayal, humiliation, and a kind of erratic set of behaviour which does no one any good, and in fact has shown a high degree of strategic short-sightedness from Mohammed bin Salman. And so the UK government has to at least ask themselves, all the contracts that BAE Systems has with the Saudi government, the increased amount of trade, financial connections that we want to do with the Saudi regime, someone in the UK government, especially the UK press and also the UK public, need to ask themselves, is this really a country that has any faith in modernism, that has any loyalty towards its strategic allies? And this is really a country that we want to invest so much time, resources and strategic diplomatic effort in the maelstrom that will be Brexit and trade negotiations and agreements after Brexit. The curious case of ex-Prime Minister Hariri shows that we're dealing with a Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, who really has been isolated from the real world, has never had any real life experience, and has hit strategic dead ends via every single action that he's been involved in, whether that is the war in Yemen with the huge amounts of human suffering, the betrayal and mockery of that claim by the Saudi royal family for its aspirations to be leaders of the Arab world or the Sunni world. But also we need to seriously think about these reckless actions as endangering British security, British interests, but also making a mockery of the claim that it is Iran that is the major threat to peace and stability in the region. Just take a look at the last, week and ask yourself, is that really realistic and accurate? Just as a crucial side note, something which links the economic pressure being put on ex-Lebanese Prime Minister Saad Hariri by the Saudis and actions by the UK government is a key piece of news which really kind of went a bit unnoticed. There wasn't much focus being put on it, usually because there was kind of the leftover shocks from the comments by Boris Johnson, the UK Foreign Secretary, but also the resignation of Priti Patel. And that was the guarantee by the UK government, through one of its external trade organisations, to offer a loan of £2 billion to the Saudi state oil company, energy company, Aramco. And the denial by the UK government that this was in any way connected to the fact that the Saudis want to institute an IPO to take Aramco and make it public, and to encourage a sort of a burst of external private investment. And of course the UK government is very keen on that sale of the IPO of Aramco to happen on the London Stock Exchange. But of course we were told the two things were completely unrelated. Well, it's really important that we take that kind of economic leverage and connection being made by the UK government in preparation for sort of a post-Brexit set of trade deals and talks, and what's happening in terms of instability in the region, yet again making a mockery of the notion that in fact the UK and the Saudis are arm in arm to prevent terrorism and secure stability in the region. Through these two stories, the crisis in Lebanon, the £2 billion loan to the Saudi state company Aramco, we can see that that is just nonsense. Hello and welcome to International, a new series on the National newspaper online where we look at a whole range of events happening all over the world and seeing their geopolitical significance and how they relate back to Scotland and the UK. This week we're going to be looking at the sheer madness occurring in Lebanon, the Lebanon's crisis, the crisis of political leadership, and the role that the Saudi royal family has in Lebanon, but also links to the UK and its trade and economic decisions.